Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and make the whites of the eyes. So I'm going to be using, as I said in the last video, this resin, which dries white, so you don't have to worry about dyeing the resin. It'll already turn white when you're done. And it does say 10 minutes. However, because we're making such small pieces, especially like the 10mm, the resin, basically the way that resin cures itself is that the chemical reaction that's going on creates heat, which helps to harden it. And I think there's probably other things also, obviously, that go into it hardening, but it quickens if it's heated. So, because these are such small pieces, they might not generate quite as much heat as they normally would, so that it'll actually take longer to cure. So, this mold that I made, which I showed how to do in the other video, this mold can be heated. In the instructions for this, it's the same company that makes this mold. So the instructions say to heat up these resin pieces, these mold pieces for a minute in the microwave, or I think it was 15 minutes or something in the oven at 150, but the instructions are in there. So, but yeah, so you should heat up these to help speed up the resin curing. And I did test it out, and they don't melt into a puddle. I was kind of worried. I was like, I spent all this time doing this, if these melt, but they're perfectly fine. Just put in for a minute. Don't do it any longer, because I don't know what would happen if it goes any longer. The thing is, though, in my place, it's cold, and so by the time I got the resin poured, these had actually cooled off. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm not going to heat these up. I'm going to mix the resin, pour it in, and then I'm going to take my hairdryer and stay about like this far away from it. So like, I don't know if that's like 10 inches maybe, 8 to 10 inches away from these, and just blow on it at high heat. And just kind of, I think probably for like 5 to 10 minutes I'll do that, so that the whole thing heats up and it'll help it go along. So let's get started. Okay, so this resin comes with 3 measuring cups, and they have different measurements along the side. So ounces, what's this, milliliters, tablespoons and teaspoons. So you really don't need a whole lot. For these 3 eyes, I really probably only need up until like a teaspoon. So to do this, you need to be pouring it, equal parts of the yellow and the clear. So let me do this. And be careful, because it pours out kind of quick. Just kind of put like a drip of it, I guess, because a lot more comes out than you expect. So, I don't know if you can see that, but so I put a half of a teaspoon in, and then I'm going to fill up the rest to the teaspoon mark right there, with the yellow. Again, like I said, just try to be careful with it. Let a little bit of it drip out, and you'll get there. So that is 1 teaspoon. And then they have the 2 stirring sticks, which are just lollipop sticks, which you can buy extra of at craft stores or Publix or any grocery store. So yeah. So what I found with this white one is that it doesn't quite make quite as many bubbles as the clear does. So you can mix a little bit quicker with it. But I still wouldn't, you know, get it frothy. So as you're mixing, it gets a little bit whiter for a moment, like you saw, and then it goes back to being clear. So you just want to make sure that you really mix everything in well. You shouldn't really see any sort of like, it's kind of like, you know, when you put oil in water and you can see that they're separate, you'll be able to see if these two are separate or not. And you shouldn't really see, you should see just kind of like a clear liquid. So I think you'll be able to tell. So that's all mixed. That little white thing right there at the bottom, that's actually some hardened resin from before, but it's not. It's actually on the bottom of this container, so it's not going to get in the resin that's in there. So anyways though, so to get it in, I did try like just pouring it, you know, the other day, but that was a really bad idea because it got all over the sides. It got in there, but it got all over the sides too, which is okay. But the thing is, if it's all over the sides, I mean, for one, it's gonna waste some, and then also, it's just kind of something that you're gonna have to sand off. Which, I mean, you can use a paper towel to wipe off the extra. But it's still better just to try to get in the first time. So what I like to do is drip it in. So get some on this stick and just let it drip. Try to make sure that your molds are laying pretty flat. This little tiny one, that's the 10mm one, I wasn't thinking when I was making the mold. The bottom isn't completely flat, but it's okay because I can use the little curve of the plate right there and just put it up against it to make it flat. So not a huge deal, just make sure that it's sitting flat, you know. Even if it was a little bit sideways, it's fine because it's kind of like water, like it holds itself in there. Just make sure it's not going to be like, you know, like if it was like that or anything, obviously your resin won't stand. So just make sure that it's mainly nice and flat. Yeah, like I was saying before though, if you do happen to get some on the sides, it's not a huge deal. One, you can wipe it off with a paper towel, and even if you don't wipe it off with a paper towel, it'll just literally like fall off when you're pulling it out of the mold. And whatever like any little bits that are left, you can just sand off when you're all done. So it's not a huge deal. Like I got a little bit on the side right there. I'll just leave it so that I can show you that it's not a big deal and how to remove it when it's all done. So you can be messy with it, I mean, you know. But one thing though is that you want to get it in very quickly. As you can see, it's already turning white, so I probably shouldn't have talked for so long. I probably should have just got it in there immediately. But it'll still be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't have talked for so long at the beginning. Oops. But I mean, it's good though when it starts turning this white color because that means that it's setting, which is what you want. Okay. So, last one's a little bit messy, but it's okay. So yeah, there they are. As you can see, the larger one is turning white faster than the smaller one. Like I said, this one's able to generate a lot more heat than this. If you feel the bottom of this cup, when the resin's in there, you can feel a little bit of heat coming from it. It's not like, it's almost even barely noticeable, but you can feel the heat that's in there. And if you're worried about wasting a measuring cup, don't worry. The resin will come right out. No problem whenever you're all done. You know, just like leave the measuring cup to sit for like a day or even like 12 hours, and then it'll just, it'll pop right out, you know, and in one big chunk you can take it out. So that's nice. But yeah, so I think that was a lot. So like I said though, according to the packaging, it should take 10 minutes for larger pieces, but because these are smaller, they're gonna need some extra heat. So I'm gonna go, because I didn't heat these pieces up, I'm gonna go and put them underneath my hair dryer for 5 to 10 minutes, and then let them sit.